Hi, it's time for another verb of the day. Today's verb is attain. And this verb was suggested by the viewer Robert, so I want to say a special thanks for this suggestion. But let's take a look now at the definitions or ways that we use the verb attain. The first way you are likely to hear it used is to refer to succeeding as you achieve something. You might think about this like reaching a particular goal, having a particular accomplishment. A second way the verb attain is used is to mean to reach a particular amount, a certain size, or even a specified age. Sometimes rules or laws are written in a way that indicate when someone attains the age of 18, for example, it's considered an adult in most U.S. states, right? Then certain things can happen or certain rights are available. You should know the verb attain is a regular verb. To make the progressive form of this verb, all we need to do is add ing to form attaining. The past tense and participle forms of this verb are formed by adding ed. Our base verb, attain, ends in a voiced N sound. So our ed ending is just going to make a D sound. And we do not add an extra syllable as we say it. So it should sound like this. Attained. Attained. Okay. There aren't any phrasal verbs that we need to study today, so instead we can focus on practicing our verb of the day in a couple different verb tenses. Today we're going to practice the simple past tense and the simple future using will. Let's start with the simple past tense. We use this verb tense to note a completed action that occurred at some definite point in time. Many times in sentences, you will see time signals, words like yesterday, or maybe a phrase like last year, or even a specific date. But not every sentence in the simple past tense is going to have a time signal. Many times this is implied as part of a conversation or as part of a longer story. So the nice thing about the simple past tense is that our structure is going to be the same no matter what our subject is. Okay? So our affirmative or positive sentences will start with a subject, and then we're going to use the ed form of this verb. Here's an example sentence. India attained its independence in 1947. So this would tie back to that first definition, successfully reaching an accomplishment, in this case, a milestone. If I want to make a negative simple past tense sentence, I'm going to, again, start with my subject. Then I'll use did not, or the contraction didn't, and then the base verb. An example here. The team didn't attain its 4th straight title this year. Again, ties back to our first definition where for many teams, the goal is to win, to be the best, right? Here, it did not reach that particular goal. I can make a yes or no question in the simple past tense. I start with did, then I have my subject, and then the base verb. You can see this in the example. Did he attain the rank of Petty Officer First Class? Okay. This might be connected to a rank in the military, particularly the Navy. And again, we're talking about someone reaching this particular level. I always like to point out to my students, notice in the negative and the yes or no question, I'm not adding ed. I'm only doing that in affirmative sentences. Now let's take a look at the simple future. Today we're going to focus on using will, and that's very common when people are making promises or making predictions. Sometimes you'll hear people use it to discuss their plans as well. When we use will to talk about the future, our structure is again going to stay the same no matter what our subject is. So in the affirmative or positive, we're going to have our subject, we'll have will, and then the base verb. You can see this in my example. Nigeria will attain 95% digital literacy by the end of 2030. So some people would look at this as a prediction. Others might see it as a promise based on who's delivering it. I think this was a government minister, and many government officials do make promises. So they plan to reach this particular level of computer-based or digital literacy. If I want to make a negative simple future sentence, my structure is subject, then will not, and then the base verb. Sometimes you'll hear the contraction won't, and then the base verb. You can see one in my example here. The storm won't attain tropical storm status by Friday night. I heard a sentence like this from a meteorologist. So it's the time of year where there are many tropical storms, hurricanes, and there are sort of different levels to how severe or how intense the storms are. So here, this particular meteorologist was saying we're not going to reach this particular level. I can make a yes or no question in the simple future. To do this, I start with will, then I have my subject, then the base verb. Here's an example. Will you attain all of your goals in the next 6 months? So here I might be asking you to make a prediction. Are you on track to reach these particular goals? Now let's spend a moment looking at some words that are related to our verb attain. The first word we're going to look at is the noun attainment. This refers to the action or perhaps the fact that one has achieved a goal to which they had been working. Or we might also just sort of be referring to something that has been achieved. An example of this might be, the research study will examine voucher programs' effects on educational attainment. So what this is referring to is sort of what levels of education are people earning if they've been part of this particular program. Another related word you might hear is the noun attainability. This really is the state of being achievable. Okay? An example here. Rising inflation and economic uncertainty threaten home attainability. So many people in the United States look at sort of the cost of buying a home now and kind of go, gee, I don't know that I can afford it. I don't know that I can reach that particular goal. Another related word is the adjective attainable. That suffix able, able, always connects to our definition. So attainable means able to be attained or achieved. An example here. Are you setting attainable goals? Right? So are you setting something that can be reached, right? You're not sort of picking out something that is impossible. Once again, thanks so much to Robert for making today's suggestion for our video. I thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.